From Acapulco, Mexico, this is Anarchast.
Is this thing on? Word.
So what, we get drunk. So what, we smoke weed. We're just having fun. We don't care who sees. So what, we go out.
Hey, let me get a lighter.
That's how it's supposed to be.
Cause you know I'm high as
Living
fuck.
young and wild and free.
Hey everybody, welcome to another edition of Anarchast, your home for anarchy on the internet. Got new intros going on here. I actually got Sasha Daygame, is also known as Alex Lazarov now. He's gone through a crisis identity since I last talked to him, apparently. Coming in from London, or as we call it around here in Mexico, Londres. What's going on?
¿Cómo estás, señor?
Bien, bien, y tú?
Yeah. Been,
yeah, you don't even know what that means, do you? Yeah,
yeah,
you do.
And me. Of course I do. I speak Spanish. You put habla español. You know, I've been going down to Mexico the last couple of years hanging out with y'all.
That's true, that's true. So what's going on, man?
Well, I don't know where to begin. It's always, when you're into working on the self, there's just so much going on all the time. It's a never-ending journey. So I don't know where to really begin. I just got back from Portugal. I spent 5 days in a silent satsang with Motoji, who's an enlightened master. I don't know if you know him. He's a Jamaican guy, but just fully popped out of the matrix, and really profound being around someone who, because he's always at absolute peace. Like, he's just peace and love all the time. There's no anything, and it's just it's really profound. And I had a nice little cry. That was good. Is it kind of a funny story? Basically, every time when he gets up, everybody gets up, right? That's how it works. And I noticed as we get up, you know, you're waiting 15 minutes until he leaves the room. And for the first 3 days, I was like, what's going on? Why is it taking so long? And then I realized that, you know, he always goes left. And as he goes left, he's always saying goodbye to people. And he's, you know, people want to hold him. They want to get close to him so that he's hugging people. Sometimes people break out and start crying or start laughing. And a lot of crazy stuff happens because some people pop. Like, they realize the teaching, which is you're not your mind. You're not all this conditioning. You're actually consciousness that's looking at all this stuff. And you can actually ignore your mind. So people wake up. So every day he goes left. And I'm like, oh, you know what? I want to hug this guy too. I haven't gotten any love. So I go. So the one day I get a really good seat up front, and I'm close to the direction he always walks. I'm like, this is it. I'm gonna hug him, and I'm there, and he ends the satsang. Everybody gets up, and then he runs to the other direction on purpose. And I was like, Moji, fuck me over. And then the final day, I just randomly was in a spot where I was really close to the way he went, and I got up close, and he did something on stage which is really, really powerful, and actually anyone would be interested in this. Basically, somebody raised their hand and said that they had depression. And my wife, as you know, she's struggled since childhood with depression. It's just something that she's had, and she's been working on for a really long time. And it's quite a journey when you've had it your whole life. It's a fucking journey. And so somebody says, I'm depressed, and Moji's like, come up on stage. So the guy comes up on stage, and basically doing a simple exercise of just looking at where thoughts are coming from, he made the guy within 5 minutes realize that he wasn't the depression, because the being that was looking at depression and saying, I feel the depression, he goes, who's feeling it? Who's feeling it? Are you the depression, or are you witnessing some being that's looking at the depression? And he just kept looking at it, and eventually the guy was like, oh yeah, it's not me. It's just this series of thoughts and feelings, and I'm actually observing it over there, and it isn't me. And the guy was like, okay, yeah, I still feel shitty, but I can see now that this creates a space, and I could take this with me and keep focusing on the being that I am, and not the depression, this thing. And so it was so powerful, and I felt like my heart just like crack, and I was like, oh my God, he really loves this guy, he really helped this guy, and I was on the verge of tears. And then as he got up and I went over to the right, he's walking by, and I just felt like, you know, I'm gonna cry. And he looked at me with just these loving eyes, and he put his arms out, and I went to hug the guy, and I just fucking broke down crying, dude. I was just like, it just came out of me like, and I was just holding him for like 20 seconds crying. And then he looked at me, and then he walked on, and one of the helpers gave me a tissue. And it was beautiful, and it was just literally just like, and as you know, like doing any of the psychedelics or doing any of the stuff where you're trying to open up, right, trying to get out of the mind and get into the heart and feel that love, you know, it's so hard to stay in that state. And I think what happened with me was I got in that state, watching him help this guy and just being near him and seeing that love. I just got into that state, and I just fucking had to cry because I just felt so much love in that moment. It was really great. And then, and I think that's what life is. It's like, trying to move to in that direction of just like getting out of the matrix, getting out of these program thinking of like, yeah, you got to make money and do this and be successful and blah, 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 all this shit, which completely takes us away from who we are, which is pure love and consciousness and oneness. But where's the space? How do we even find time for that in this matrix, which is built to keep us separated? So it was a really, really profound experience, just being there and being around this guy. Beautiful. If anyone gets a chance to go and hang out with do any meditation retreat, anything with any enlightened master, go for it. You will, just amazing. That's all I can say.
Yeah, that's cool. You were the first person who actually told me, or I forget if you were the first, but right around one of the first that I talked to when I started to realize that I might be depressed a number of months ago, maybe even like a year ago. Time flies. And I remember I was talking to you, and I said, I just saw this show, and they were talking about depression, and everything they were saying, I was like, that's me, that's me, that's me. Yeah. And I said, I think I'm depressed, and you went, no shit. And I went, what are you talking about? And you said, of course you are. Every time I talk to you, you say you want to die. And I'm like, well, doesn't everyone do that? And you're like, no. And so that actually led me down a road. So you're talking about depression here a little bit. That led me down a road where I'm like, okay, so I sort of identified a bit of a problem here. Like, it sucks when you don't identify the problem. You're like, I'm not happy, but I have no idea why. That's like the worst place. When you at least kind of identify something, it's like, okay, this is something I could work on. This is there's a name for this, or there's like things that people do to get out of this sort of thing. Now that I know that I have it, and I've been on it now for months and months. And actually, I get along really well with your wife because we get along. We just totally understand each other on so many things. She's, I think, worse than me, or was worse than me. I'm actually a lot better now, as you can see by just how I'm acting and how I started this show and stuff. But I remember just, all the stuff that I did to get out of it, and it's been so much. And a big part of it, there's so many things, but a big part for me, just so people know, that really kind of cracked it finally was fasting. Really just seemed to get me out of whatever it was. And so I'm pretty much always fasting now. I try to fast like 18 hours a day at the moment, and I feel amazing. So that's why I'm doing it. And I don't feel depressed at all when I'm doing this. So I don't see any reason really to stop. And I feel great. I look great, whatever. But yeah, it's interesting about depression and what you said about people getting out of their mind space. I actually had a bit of almost like one of those moments that people talk about, not quite an out-of-body experience, but like a real wow moment. A few weeks ago, I was doing some yoga, and Carrie Wedler, past Anarchast guest, she got me into some different types of yoga, including yin yoga, which I know you're into, and she said, you should do some cannabis oil, some CBD oil when you do yoga. Like, she says, that's I can't do yoga without it. Like, that's the only way to do yoga. I was like, really? Okay. So I did it, and I think I did a bit too much. And instead of doing my normal 20 minutes and then going, okay, that's enough, I've had enough, it went on for like hours, and I didn't even realize time had gone by. And I was just going through all these like deep thoughts, and I really almost got out of my mind for a bit, and I could just see my mind, and I was like, whoa. This is like a program. Like, I'm not even in control of myself. I'm just like a programmed robot, basically, most of the time. And as this yogi guy or whatever told this other person, you kind of get out of it and you can kind of see it. And yeah, you still might feel not great, but at least now you're not like in the middle of it. You're kind of like outside of it, just kind of watching it, right?
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, we're all running programs. That's the thing. We're all running programs. We're all damaged. We're all in pain from our messed up childhoods and all this kind of stuff. And it's just a matter of, in a way, so many people have some degree of depression, right? Because they have some job they don't like, or a partner they don't like, or other stuff in their lives that they don't like. And most people just don't take chances. They don't. Most people don't take chances. And hey, like, as long as there's food on the table and they're not homeless, they're like, oh, well, life's not so bad. And they just keep going. And they don't have to. And that's the really profound thing here. Like you said, once you realize there's a problem and you go, okay, I'm not happy here, this is not cool, you can change it. That's the beautiful thing about being a human being. There's infinite possibilities. We can change anything. I'm reading a book right now by a guy called, a Russian guy, Vadim Zeland, I believe, and it's called Transurfing, and it's fascinating. And I've been into this whole thing. I think I shared, I don't know if I shared with you, but I had a moment where I consciously shifted into another reality. because I basically was going to sleep. I put out a lot of gratitude to the universe. And for one moment, as I was falling asleep, I had this memory. And then at the same time as having this one memory, I had another memory that was the same event, but totally different. And I remember for 1 second thinking, wait, two of these memories couldn't have both happened. They're opposites. And I was like, what the fuck? And I had this really strong feeling inside me that was like, don't hold on, just let go. So I let go. I went to sleep. I fell asleep. I woke up the next day. And guess what? The next day, my friend comes on Skype. She's like, "Hey man, have you heard of the Mandela effect?" And I was like, "No, but I think you know what that means. Is that when you shift or remember things from a parallel dimension?" He's like, "Yes." I'm like, "Yeah, I just slipped into a parallel reality yesterday. I remember having two memories that are different." So, and then I started going down this whole rabbit hole of the Mandela effect, and which is a huge rabbit hole, and I'm not going to go there now. But the point is, people are having memories. Very clear memories of things they've done or places movies they've seen, all this kind of stuff that doesn't exist anymore, has drastically changed in this timeline that doesn't officially exist, but millions of people have the same memory. It's called the Mandela effect because millions of people remember Mandela dying in prison in the 80s, but in fact, in our reality, he just died a few years ago, 2013. So I'm reading this book.
Hey, in my reality, I didn't even know he was dead. So there you go.
Well, there you go. You're in another one.
I don't watch the news, so whatever.
But well, the news and shit. But the point is, so this book Transfer Surfing, as I'm reading it, basically explaining stuff that a lot of these people are talking about, and it's basically saying, in time and space, there is no real time. We're just experiencing time, but there is no time. Space is infinite, and basically every reality of anything that could happen with any of our lives already exists. Anything that can happen has already happened, and our consciousness now, you can actually pick and go down whichever one of these loops that you want to go down, whatever is most exciting to you, and you can follow it, and you can go down because it already exists. You've already done it all. It's not like linear. It's not linear. It's not like, oh, you're born and you have one life and you're gone. No, everything is happening, and every time you make a decision, you're creating a slightly different parallel reality, and so there is no limit to what any of us can do ever at all in any way. And by our vibrational frequency and the thoughts and the things that we're thinking of, we're attracting that. So if you're always thinking, oh, man, I'm so broke, I don't have any money, I wish I had more money, but you're going to keep attracting experiences that are going to keep reinforcing that because you're feeding that energy all the time, so you're going to keep getting it back. But even if you don't have money, and every time you get a bit of money, you're like, wow, yes, I just got $50. Yeah, that $50 is awesome. That's so great. And you focus on the joy that small things give you. Guess what happens? You're going to keep attracting that because the energy that you're feeding, basically they talk about these pendulums of energy. So, kind of like pendulums or egregores of basically these energies that control us. So if you're really obsessed about, for example, the news or what Donald Trump's doing, you're always worried, they're going to do World War III, and you're freaking out about it. Well, you're feeding that energy. So you're going to keep getting stuff like that sucking you and all this kind of stuff. But if you pick what energy you're feeding, and you pick good things like, wow, these people are making businesses that are going to clean up the pollution on our planet, or wow, the technology is going to save the world, that's beautiful, or wow, people are waking up and the consciousness is rising and everyone's going to love each other because we're all waking up to love. If you keep focusing on that, you're just going to literally keep entering other realities where that's actually happening more and more and more because that's what you're putting out. So literally what you put out is exactly what you get back, and he proves it literally scientifically. They've actually proved this is how the universe actually works. It's not woo-woo stuff anymore. It's science going, this is how it works, and we've proved it. So it's fascinating. So the bottom line is whatever you want in your life, you can have. But you have to want it, you have to ask for it, you have to think about it, and put that out there like, this is what I want for my life, and it will come. It's literally that simple.
Yeah, I've realized that many times in my life. I've even talked about it before I got into all this woo-woo sort of hippie stuff like what you're talking about, which it actually isn't. Like you just pointed out, a lot of this is quite scientific even.
Yeah.
But when I realized it, before I even thought about any of this stuff, when I was like 14 or 12 or whatever, 13, as soon as I started liking girls, I was like, how am I going to get girls? I'm like, well, they seem to like money. I'm like, okay, I need money. I didn't have anyone teaching me any of this stuff. My dad never talked to me. I didn't, I had a little brother and he didn't know anything, obviously. I had no friends. So I'm just sitting there trying to figure out the world. And I was like, okay, I want girls, so I need money. And so I made a thing. I'm going to be a millionaire by the time I'm 30. And I never thought about it too much after that, except when I was 30, that idea came back into my brain, and I was like, oh my God. And I thought about it. I was like, hey, at this very moment in time, this was, of course, January 1st, 2000, I was worth about $70 million. My company is worth $240 million. That just happens all throughout my life all the time. So I know it's real. It's real for me anyway. That's the thing. I don't know if it's real for everyone else, but it seems like it is, right? You just mentioned it. There's so many other people. There's this whole law of attraction that so many people are into. And the more I hear about it, I'm like, yeah, it totally works as far as I can tell.
It's totally real. And what you just said now, with your whole crazy story and all money and all this kind of stuff, it's like, you know, you realize after a while, and you keep seeing these patterns over and over and over again. And I was just talking about this with Arthur, my video editor, who you also met briefly at the Infinite Man. You know, we were talking about, he's a YouTuber too, and so am I. And of course, all YouTubers are trying to do what? They're trying to make these hits. They're trying to make videos that'll get millions of views and all this kind of stuff. But what we're noticing more and more is that when we try and do videos on purpose because we want to be successful and we want to have more views or whatever, it never really works out, and we never enjoy making the videos because we're not doing it for the right reason. When we do videos that like, oh, we're passionate, this idea is going to really make people laugh or really make people think or wake people up out of the matrix, those videos, because we enjoy doing them so much and they're coming from the right place, they always end up doing better anyway, and we're so happy doing them. And so this is the trap people you know, fall into in life. Oh yeah, like you said, you know, if I have more money, I'm going to get chicks. Yeah. Most people are doing what they're doing in life because they think they're going to get more money, which will get them, you know, a partner that they want to, or if they get more success, they'll get a promotion, then they'll get more respect from people, all this kind of stuff. But they're all traps because everyone's looking for happiness, everything outside themselves. But you don't need anything. You don't need anything. All you have to realize that you're divine and you're unlimited because you're alive, and you've already won the game because you're here and you incarnated on Earth, and you can do whatever you want to. There's nothing to prove for you, for me, for anybody. All we should do is follow our own joy. And you're a great example of that. You know, you love waking people up, you know, anarchy, voluntarism, getting people in control of their finances. You love snapping people and be like, dude, you know, get your money out of the system and do this and free yourself and wake the fuck up to what's happening. You love it so much. This is why you're not trying to make these shows to go viral, or you're not like, oh, what do I make a video? No, you're doing what you love doing because you want to wake people up and save them financially. And that's why your show's blowing up and your channel's growing so fast and you have such a dedicated following, is because you're doing exactly what excites you. And that is the only way to truly succeed and be happy. Do what excites you the most and forget everything else, and everything just comes. It's that simple.
I've got a great story about that just came to mind. I've got hundreds of them, but I got wiped out doing a project in Chile, Gulf, Chile. I got defrauded along with a number of other people for millions of dollars, and then he got me into the whole sort of citizenship passport thing that's just turned into a disaster. Anyway, I was dead broke like 2 years ago, which I hadn't been my whole adult life, like dead broke. And it was like the worst possible time to be dead broke because I had like 2 kids and 5 dogs and a wife. And, you know, like if I was like just single, it wouldn't have been such a really horrible thing. Like I'm just so used to, yeah, no problem, I'll just rebuild. Like I've done that so many times that I just know it's just like we just said, like if I want to do something, I can do it. That's not a problem. But I got really kind of concerned at that moment in time, and I was bankrupt and very depressed. I was drinking a lot, and but I was really into this one thing. There was this one thing that just caught my attention so much, and it was this whole Shemitah thing that I talked about for the last few years. And I was like, how could it be that happened on the exact end day of the Shemitah? The last 2 market crashes, and the last one was 777 points, and this happens every 7 years. And I'm like, are the globalist elites into this numerology and all this sort of stuff? And I was just like, my mind was just going. But back then, this is like 2 years ago, no one in the financial world ever talked about this sort of stuff. You know, there's people like Peter Schiff or, you know, all these sort of guys with suits or whatever, right? And all these fund managers and stuff. They'd never get up there and say, oh, I think, you know, the global elites are into numerology, and therefore you could predict sometimes when they're going to do a crash and stuff like that. It sounded nuts, right? And but I was so like bankrupt and sort of just like depressed, and like I was like, I might have to shut down everything I'm doing and just go live in the woods. Like I have no money, nothing's coming. Everything fell apart all at once. It's the whole story, and that's a whole other topic we can talk about. It's just like flows and it's just, you know, things just seem to always happen at once. I think there's a reason for that, and it's to teach you is what I think the reason is. And but anyway, I was like down to like my last couple of days of, should I just go live in the woods? I have no money. I don't know how I'm going to pay rent next month. I'm a failure in front of everybody, public failure. That was a whole other thing I had to learn how to deal with. So I learned a lot through the whole process. But my point was, I was just so into this one little thing, and I was like, yeah, but if I do a video on that, everyone's just going to think I'm nuts. I'm just going to come out and say, yeah, it's all biblical related, but it's actually in the Torah, and it's all because the Jewish banksters are into all this sort of satanic numerology and stuff. It sounded nuts at the time, but actually a lot of people are talking about it now, and I think I was a part of people talking about it is because I brought it out. But anyway, I put this video together. I'm like, all right, this is the last shot. If this video does not fly, I'm done. This thing's over. Everything's over. I have to just figure out something else to do. But but I was like, but I'm so passionate about it. Like, I really think there's something to this, but it sounds crazy, but I probably wouldn't have put it out unless I was that sort of desperate. I'm like, I got to do something, because if something doesn't hit soon, I'm done. And so I did that video, and I put it on YouTube. And it's one of those, a lot of people will say this, anything that you're scared to put out, like you're like, oh my God, you're so scared to hit that like publish button. That's what you should be putting out. And that's what I've learned through this whole process is, those are the things that are pushing the limits. That's the things that might excite some people, or maybe the reason that you're excited about it is because other people are excited about it, but no one's really talked about it yet. So I hit publish, and that video went on to do millions of views, way better than any video I've ever done. And that led to rebuilding my entire Dollar Vigilante business, which is doing incredibly well now over the last couple of years. So yeah, just do what you're passionate about and don't be scared. So and that's another thing too. I guess you said take risks. I'm always taking risks, and that's led me to be very rich and very poor countless times. But that also pushes you, right? Because when you do have those down things where you lose everything again, which I do every now and then, it pushes you to have to get, put yourself outside of your normal comfort zone, right?
Yeah, that's the thing. And like I said before, that's what people don't want to do. And we're really, really trained throughout everything, right? Go to school, do your homework, get a loan, go to university, be good, get a proper job, save up for your retirement. It's all be safe, don't take any chances. It's really ingrained into people. Just get a good job.
Yeah, whenever anyone says goodbye to you, when everyone says you're going to say goodbye, and I do it every now and then too, but I hate it when you go, take care. It's like, no, don't take care. Like, take care.
Take chances.
What? Yeah, take chances. That's way
get
better.
Crazy.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's just one of the core things, and that's one of the main things that I got, and that guys who I trained over the years with the whole dating thing and pickup, it's just take chances. Guys would these guys who wouldn't take chances. Of course, they didn't have girlfriends, and then when they started taking chances, they would get girlfriends, and then they'd be like, oh, wait a minute. What if I start taking chances in my normal life too? Like, I had this business idea for the last 5 years that everyone says is amazing, and I never do it. And they started doing it. And so, like, I've got guys now who are like, they're living in Thailand with their online businesses, living with their girlfriends, working a couple hours a day, and just swimming around on the beach, having the most better lives. I'm just like, you're on a beach the whole time, and you're making lots of money. They're like, yep. So again, just that one shift in perspective, take chances, can change your whole life. And
yeah,
also recognizing that all human beings are damaged and not being hard on ourselves, because so many people, including you and me and everyone I know who's successful, we're so hard on ourselves because we get it from our parents, right? Because so many parents are like, do your homework, don't fuck around, get a good job. There's so much pressure, and we got into this when we did the San Pedro not that long ago, and you started just sharing some of your shit from your parent. I mean, dude, holy fuck, we're all so fucked up, and when we realize we're taking on all this shit from society and from our parents, wow, we just got to take it easy and love ourselves, man. You know what I mean? It really comes down to just relax and love ourselves.
Yeah, it really does. And you've been a part of helping me realize a lot of stuff. And yeah, we did San Pedro here on the beach in Acapulco, and that was quite amazing. And we just talked about it. It was very relaxed. I was quite surprised. It was nothing like ayahuasca or anything. I don't know if we did like a massive amount or not. I don't think we did, but it was very relaxed. And we just talked about our childhood and let a lot of things go, and a feeling of real peace and just like everything's going to be okay was the feeling. Just amazing. So even things like psychedelics can really help some people. I know since we last talked, I don't even remember the last time we talked on this show, but you're doing a new podcast. You're doing Woke AF podcast, which actually I really enjoy. I wish you did video because I don't like audio as much. For whatever reason, I like to see video. But tell us a little bit about the show.
Yeah, well, again, I was just got tired of just doing dating and chasing girls and helping guys with the girl thing, and I just was like, okay, well, there's more to being an amazing human being and a successful man, happy man than women, and so I just started going down that path and getting more and more into the spiritual stuff, and ayahuasca and stuff and meditation and breathing and reading all these spiritual books, and I just finished reading Autobiography of a Yogi. Anybody who's getting into the spiritual path, go read that book first. It's amazing. But
it's on my Kindle. It's on my list to read.
Dude, it's so good. It's so crazy. You're reading it. The thing is, it'll wake people up to the fact that all the info we're given is bullshit, because there's so many miracles performed by people that are, essentially spiritual gurus or whatever. in that book that it's just normal. Like people like can teleport themselves, create like anything. It's insane. But no, just believe everything's normal. That there's no miracles, nothing, no magic, nothing. Everything's just normal. It's ridiculous. So it really blows people's minds apart. But anyway, but after just being on the path, I thought it's all I want to talk about is just loving ourselves and waking up and getting out of the matrix, and the fact that we reincarnate and there's no death and we're just energy and we just keep going forever and ever and ever and ever. And so I just was like, fuck it. Let's do a podcast where we talk about how to deal with our pain and how to come together, how to love ourselves. And basically I just wanted to interview people who were on the spiritual path, who are working on themselves, to wake up out of this dream that we're in. It's just a dream. It's not real. And it's fascinating. We get into some really, really fascinating topics because there's no limits. And yeah, I don't like censoring myself, so I will talk about what's really going on. I'll talk about anything. Anything will come up. The banking system, technologies, free energy, all that stuff comes up. But it's really just about how do we love? How do we get rid of this mind that's programming us and just actually get into our hearts and love? And I've had some amazing people on there. And yeah, it's just great. And it's weird because I was looking for a podcast about people on the spiritual journey, people who are working towards spiritual enlightenment, and I couldn't find one. I found one on meditation, and I found other religious ones, but I couldn't find one where it's literally like interviewing people talking about spiritual enlightenment. And I'm just like, well, I want to talk about that, and I'm surprised there isn't one, so I'm just going to start that. And that's it. I've been going around the world and talking to some amazing people who have had some insane experiences. Like you'll hear stuff and be like, that can't have happened. But if you open up your mind and realize that we're living in, again, this isn't base reality here. We're actually just spirit, and we're in these bodies for a while to learn and discover that we are everything. So when you open yourself up, man, it's a really crazy world, and I love exploring it on there. Yeah. Woke.as, the Woke as Fuck podcast.
Yeah, and that's one thing that I've noticed about you is you really are just following your passions now. You were doing it before as well. Even when you were doing your dating stuff, that was what you were passionate about at the time. And then you kind of you had enough of it, and now you're like passionate about this stuff. And you're similar to me in that when you get passionate about stuff, you really go for it. And so you've even started a conference, which I actually attended last year, called the International Man Summit. I think that was the first one last year in London. And I spoke
close.
at it.
It was the Infinite Man Summit, but you're close. I got the shirt on, for God's sake.
Oh, yeah, sorry. I can't see you. But yeah, Infinite Man Summit. Sorry about that. And it was really good. I met some amazing people there. Actually, one of them has turned into a person that's helped me out quite a bit, Josh Mason. He is a detox dude. He was on Anarchast before. He came to speak in Acapulco afterwards. So all these things, we all get tied into each other through these sort of events. And I'm on so many of his detox sort of stuff right now. That's a whole other topic that actually I want to talk more about on the show with some other people. I should have Josh back on or whoever, talk about more detox stuff. Because that stuff's really important too, in my opinion, and stuff that I've been doing, and that's helped a lot as well. But you also, like I said, started this Infinite Man Summit, and amazing people. I hung out with a number of them there. I was still quite depressed at the time when I went there, so I wasn't quite how I am now. I would have enjoyed it a lot more the way I am now, but that's whatever. And you're actually doing another one coming up this month in Bulgaria. Is that right?
That is correct. May 26th to 28th, Sofia, the capital of Bulgaria. Nobody knows Bulgaria. I bring it up. They're like, what is that? Eastern Europe, friendly people, delicious food, lots of nature, just a beautiful place. Very affordable, too. If you're coming from like New York City and you get to Eastern Europe, you're like, oh, you could just eat a whole meal for like $4. That's pretty reasonable. Yes, it is. But yeah, it's a great country. And yeah, once again, the event is just... what I'm doing with my life. So getting men to become their best selves in all those 4 areas: health, wealth, relationships, finding their purpose, getting that connection with the self, connection with the higher self. Just getting that love in life and just building whatever you want. And I just go on these epic rants. Like I'm supposed to speak for like 15 minutes and introduce a speaker. I'll end up doing an hour just ranting about like breaking out of the matrix and all of these layers that we need to see through. I just love, nothing makes me happier than waking people up out of the matrix. Like literally people ask me like, what do you do? I wake people up. That's it. Nothing. It's like I was put on the planet just to slap people around and be like, dude, wake up. It's all bullshit. I can't help myself. And that's the thing. When you discover your purpose, you're just really happy when you're doing it. So it doesn't really matter about the success, all that shit. It doesn't matter. You're just so into what you're doing. And whatever that is, amazing things happen. And it doesn't have to be like you have to go and be this big. You could be a gardener and love working in a garden, and you'll be at such peace and bliss doing that. You're going to attract amazing people, other things into your lives, amazing everything comes when because your frequency, when you're excited and you follow your passion, your frequency gets higher and higher and higher, and then you just attract everything into your life. So it doesn't matter what you're doing as long as you love it and you're happy about it. And if you don't love anything, keep trying lots of different stuff till you figure it out. That's it. Yeah, it's beautiful doing something that just helps men get their lives together and go out there and excel. And it's amazing to see that. It makes me really happy and smiley. And yeah, your talk was great. You just spoke from the heart last time, so everybody felt your pain, and you just came from such an honest place of just like, the money doesn't make you fucking happy. You're doing what you love. You really got into it. It was great. So if anyone's in the European area, they still have time. And I'll put up a code as well, so all your subscribers get a discount. So you could stick that in below or whatever. But yeah, any man who wants to get their shit together in all these areas, maybe you're already killing it in one area, maybe you already got lots of money and you're super ripped, but you don't have a relationship, or maybe you're not doing something that you love. It's going to be fascinating. The growth that happens is amazing. Also, I had this crazy idea that we're doing this time. I always have these guys telling me their business ideas, like, Sasha, I have a job, but I got this great idea. And I'm like, man, that is a really good idea. If I was rich, I would totally invest in that. And I thought, let's do we're basically having a section, like a business incubator, where people can come up for a short period and say their business ideas. And I've got a couple entrepreneurs who are ex-students of mine who basically are angel investors, and they're going to come, and some of them are actually going to just, either watch the replay or listen in live or something. But basically, I have people who said, yeah, we're going to watch it, and if we really love an idea and somebody actually comes up with a good business plan, we can help them make a team and actually invest in the business. So potentially, we're going to be helping people create companies from this event, which is fascinating. So I wish you were in Europe, because that would be so cool to have you there, have your experience, and have you break down people's ideas and stuff, and potentially, help launch some of these guys' companies. That'd be sweet.
Yeah, that does sound cool. I don't know if I can make it. I think I'm speaking at a conference in Vancouver around the same time. But if I am in the area, I've been looking at a few poker tournaments. You're a poker player like me. I've been looking at a few. I want to actually go to the Monte Carlo one that's going on right now, but I didn't time it right. But so who knows? Maybe I might be in the area. I might drop in. You mentioned my speech from last year. If it might be online now. I think we're going to put it live on the Dollar Vigilante channel this week. If it is live, we'll put it in the links down below. It was a pretty good speech, if I do say so myself. I was just talking, but said a lot of interesting stuff in there. And also, it's interesting you chose Bulgaria this year. I like that. I think for a conference like the Infinite Man Summit, it should be in just out of the way places that your average person just doesn't normally go to. And Sofia, Bulgaria would be one of those kind of places. And I've actually been to Bulgaria, of course. I've been to over 100 countries, so it's quite likely I've been there. But I haven't actually been to Sofia. I actually was in Sunny Beach, Bulgaria, which is a strange place. While you're there, you should just drop by just to see it. There's tons of gypsies, and if you walk down the wrong alley at the wrong time, the gypsies will all jump on you. They're usually kind of like hot girls, so it's kind of like you kind of want them to, but you kind of don't want them to, because they'll totally rip you off and steal everything. Very interesting place, Sunny Beach, Bulgaria, and actually ended up taking a taxi to Istanbul from there, which is like 4 hours, and a whole other interesting story there. So I'm always doing interesting stuff. But yeah, as you mentioned, we'll have the links to your summit down below. And I do recommend, especially for guys out there, if you're a younger guy looking for some inspiration, looking for just something to get you going a little bit. So this is different than Anarchapulco. Of course, Anarchapulco is the best conference in the world by far. Nothing even comes close. But that's just anarchist sort of conference, and mostly anarchy focused. If what you're looking for is to improve your life, to find your passion, to be around other people who either have already done that or who want to do that as well, I found hanging around with a lot of those people was really an amazing experience last year in London. So really recommend it. You mentioned just people in Europe going. Of course, if you're in Europe, you can take probably a Ryanair or one of those discount airlines.
It was $70 I paid to go from London to Bulgaria. It's crazy cheap in Europe.
And I've seen it even cheaper on like Easy Air, I think is another one, Cheap and Easy or something. So yeah, it could be like $30 or whatever. So that's a no-brainer. But I even know our video guy, Pete Gorman, who's doing this video right now. He's been living in Mexico, and he just went to Europe for a while. And he told me he got a ticket from Mexico, which is really hard to get to Europe from Mexico, for like $340. So there you go. And you still got a few weeks here. So definitely recommend it. It's sort of one of those life-changing sort of things, similar to Anarchapulco, but different in that, like I said, it's really focused on spirituality and just sort of improving yourself, getting yourself. If you're in a rut, if you just got like a job and you're like, I got to change my life, that's the place to go this month in Bulgaria.
I'll tell you what's interesting. So I'm actually going to do a talk about crypto because I've been into Bitcoin since 2012, and after coming to your thing and making friends with like Joan Galt and all these other guys, I've just been sucked into it and just making little investments here and there, and everything's blowing up, and it's such a crazy time. So we actually have a guy who's going to be there talking about trading. He's a professional trader. He has his own system, and people make tons of money trading with this guy's system. So combining that with learning about crypto is going to be deadly. Like if you actually know what you're doing and you're trading, oh man, it's insane. And yeah, just other people who are really successful entrepreneurs who are traveling the world doing their thing, spiritual, everything. It's just, we just want to hit all the areas. And the thing is, you really need to have all those things together. Like if your health sucks, you're not going to be happy. If you're totally lonely and you can't get a relationship, you're not going to be happy. If you're doing some shit job and you hate it, you're not going to be happy. You know, and it just is. That's just what it is. So why? That's it. So it's why not just go for all of it? You know what I mean? Not all at once. I learned that. If you go for try and fix everything at once, it's a little bit intense. But you could work on one area of your life, get that to a point where you're like, yeah, I feel pretty good. This is great. Then you can work on the next one. You know?
Yeah, I was thinking about that this morning. I was thinking, like, it is important to have, like, a progression. I was thinking about that because I was like, you know, I'm, like, insane now. Like, if you told me what I'd be doing today a year ago, I would never have believed you. Like, I'm up at 7, out for a mountain hike with the dogs every morning, and I climb up the mountain. I get back home, and I'm spraying on, like, some magnesium mineral oil all over my body. Then I'm getting my coffee enema ready. Then I've got all my, you know, detox drugs, my Anarchast gel. I got a whole ton of stuff over there. I'm, you know, all my sort of parasite sort of removal sort of things that you can do. You know, just then I go outside, then I do some meditation, then I do some yoga. You know, this just goes on and on. And if you told me like a year ago when I didn't do any of this stuff, hey, you have to do all this stuff like tomorrow, like hardly anyone could do it. It'd be like just too much to take in all at once. Like what? Like this is just. But once you just, you know, so I started like with some enemas a while ago, which I really helped to like get, especially with the detox process, really helped. And you know, started with some meditation a year or two ago. Took me months and months to get fairly good at it, but now I'm like at a point where I'm quite decent at it. So these are all sort of progression sort of stuff. So that is a good point you made. Like you don't want to just jump in and do it all at once, but get started on doing stuff all the time. And these things just build up over time. And as I said, like it's built up for me to the point where I can't even believe what kind of life I'm living now. It's just so night and day from how I was living before.
Yeah, it's a really big shift when you start working on yourself. That's what makes me so sad when I see people and they're just stuck in a rut and they're not doing anything. And it's like, you don't have to be there. Jeff, I just had a brilliant idea right now, and it's awkward because I'm going to put you on the spot. But I thought, what the hell? You spoke at the last event. How cool would it be if you were officially one of our entrepreneurs who would be listening, even if you're not there? You could still watch the recordings of the people's business ideas, and you could still, you could still give them a little feedback or whatever. And because that would be an amazing thing to say. Hey, Jeff Berwick. The Jeff Berwick is on our panel of entrepreneurs and angel investors and Hippies watching. Obviously, you don't have to put any money in, but you would have to get a shot if someone has some genius idea. You could be like, yep, I want a piece of that. But that would be cool. That would add a lot of value to the event, people knowing that you're going to be watching their presentations and offering feedback. That would be sweet.
Yeah, I'll definitely consider it. Like I said, I might be over in Europe around that time. I've been looking at all these. There's an Amsterdam poker tournament starting next week. I don't know. I've just gotten, like, especially since I've gotten into this. This is a whole other story, interesting story about dreams. Just yesterday, that ties into this whole poker thing. Just yesterday, I woke up with almost like a nightmare. I had this nightmare. This big dog attacked all my dogs, and and it really, like, mortally wounded my boxer Lara. And I woke up and I was like, I rarely ever have nightmares. I rarely have dreams that I really remember that are really vivid. But that one was like so vivid, it shook me up. And I was like, oh my God, I gotta hug my dogs today because what if I ever lost them? It was just that sort of thing. So I'm like, okay, let's go for a walk. We go out for a walk, we go up on the mountain. And this is like half an hour after I've just had this nightmare. And it kind of like passed from my mind a little bit. And as I'm walking, I see my Cocker Spaniel and one of my Chihuahuas running for their lives. Behind them is this giant German Shepherd that I've never seen up on that mountain before. I don't even know where it came from. And it chased all my dogs. And actually, I held my boxer back because something from that dream kind of reminded me that if that boxer fought this dog, it was going to hurt my boxer a lot. So I actually kicked and almost tackled the German Shepherd as it was chasing my 3 Chihuahuas and my Cocker Spaniel while I'm holding off my boxer from fighting it. And then it took off after my small dogs. And luckily, they're all fast, very lucky. And by then, the owner came. And actually, the German Shepherd had a leash on him, but I guess he got away from him. And the owner got under control before there's any other problem. And the German Shepherd was fine. It was just, dogs, they get a little excited. But it was, to me, it was like, whoa, like that dream just came real within like 30 minutes of me having it. And then I started to realize, because I'm so clean now, I'm sitting here drinking actually my lime juice with maple syrup. So I'm almost kind of half fasting all the time now, because I find like when I'm clean, like everything just flows, and I'm creativity, and I'm vibing, and I'm more like attuned to everything. So this comes back to the poker thing. So since I've been like this, I've been playing some online poker, and I'm making some plays that I didn't used to make, and I'm just like sensing, I'm like, something doesn't feel right here. Like it was just like an extra sense that I wouldn't normally have gotten. And I'm like, man, I got to go play some live poker, because I feel like I'm like on like a ESP sort of level, like I'm connecting and like feeling things or gauging energy that I normally wouldn't. So that's why I say that's my long way of getting around that I might be in Europe around the time of your conference. Dude, if I am, I'll drop by.
When you clear this, and you clear the mind, and they're really working, you open yourself up to new dimensions, dude. Like, everyone is psychic. We're just so clogged up with worry and fear and shitty in our bodies and trying to digest the shitty foods and chemicals that we're eating. We can't tap into it. When you clear everything out, everyone is psychic. I mean, it's true. And I've had moments in poker you would not believe where, like, I'm the big blind and the small blind, like, raises, and I'm there with, like, pocket jacks, and I look at him and I'm like, I know you have a better hand, and I show it, and he fucking shows like kings, and I'm like, yeah, I fucking, just shit where people are like, you folded jacks in the big blind. Yeah, because I knew I was beat. I could tell. I felt it. I just knew he raised in a way, and I knew I was beat. So you can do that. You really can if you tap into it and trust. Dude, if you're gonna do some poker tournament in Europe and I can make it, I'm coming. That would be super fun. We can do vlogs about us. We can have a little side bet on who gets further in the tournament just for fun.
Yeah, all these things are kind of opening up for me now. It's kind of like exciting. Like I've gone from like this depression and never looking forward to any day to like what we're just talking about. It's like, yeah, maybe I'll go to Europe and play poker. It was like everything's just like I'm in a great space right now. It's really great. And like I said, a part of it has been just talking to people like yourself, going to conferences like the Infinite Man Summit, meeting those kind of people, getting into that vibe. So again, for people out there, definitely check out the Infinite Man Summit this month. What's the dates again?
So May 26, 28, Sofia, Bulgaria, infinitemanssummit.com. But yeah, check out the link, and I'll put a special discount code for all your peoples so they get VIP treatment. And yeah, man, I hope you come. That would be sweet. That would be super fun.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind. I kind of miss Eastern Europe a bit.
Conference and poker, baby. You can't beat it.
Yeah, I'll give it some thought. I think I have a conference. I'm supposed to be speaking at an International Metals Writer Conference in Vancouver at the end of this month, but I'll look at the dates. What are your dates again?
Fuck them, Jeff. Fuck them. They don't love you like I do.
I know.
May 26th to 28th.
Yeah. May 26th, 28th. I think that's the exact dates. Anyway, we'll figure it out because I'd rather go to yours anyway, but we'll see what happens. So yeah, that's great. Is there anything else you wanted to mention before I let you go? Definitely mention your Woke AF podcast. I really like that. And anything else you want to drop?
Yeah, I think that's it, really. Check out the podcast. Definitely come to the conference if you can. And just keep loving life. Keep loving yourselves. And, yeah, don't settle for less. Everybody listening to this deserves to be absolutely happy and content every single day. And if you're not in that space, change what you got to change. It's really that simple. And I was the worst. I was really stuck in my head my whole life. Like, really, really up here thinking all the time. I got it from my mom. She was always yelling at me and shit. So I was really up here. And literally, I would say in the last 6 months of my life, I've been able to, after all this experience, I've been able to sit under a tree in nature and just breathe in and just not think and just let go and just be in the space of just consciousness, where literally it's just absolute joy and peace and just information coming through and just getting ideas and inspiration. Like, oh, I'm supposed to do this and I could do this. Everything comes in. But it's just so hard to get in that space when you're in the matrix. And I would just recommend to anybody, I talked about this in the very first episode of my podcast, fascinating, just get out into nature. Like, like all the psychedelics and all the stuff, we've had some great experiences. They can be a real shortcut, but if you just get into nature, even for like 3 days, like don't take your phone, don't take your laptop, Go somewhere where you can just sit in nature in some grass and some trees and just relax and just leave your mind outside. You know, do Moji's exercise where you just leave your mind outside. He has this exercise, is the famous one that he always does. It's so simple. He imagines that he's in a house and you come and you knock on the house and you're like, hey, can I come in? And he says to you, yeah, you can come in. But before you do, leave your shoes and leave your mind outside. So your mind, all your thoughts and worries, all your identity of who you are and what you've accomplished and all the things you're going to do, and all that shit, I don't want to hear all that. Yeah, leave that outside. You just come in, but leave all that shit outside. And if you can actually do that for a few minutes, and my version of it is just listening to the universe, listening to God, just sitting and just listening. That's the powerful thing that changed my life drastically in the last few months. Sitting down and just listening to the universe. Just forget everything and just listen, tune in, just be conscious and present and listen. What happened for me was beyond words, just the information I'm getting and how much peace and love I can feel just sitting there. I was just getting high off my face, breathing in nature and just being present. I was getting so high, it felt like I'd taken ecstasy. I was getting to that point of high. No drugs, nothing. Just sitting there in nature, just being present. It's fucking insane, and most people have never had that experience. And once you have that experience, it changes your life because you realize you don't need drugs to be happy. You don't need money to be happy. You don't need anything. You don't need money. Nothing. You need to breathe in some nature and recognize what you are, which is absolutely eternal, and just be present with yourself, and you can feel absolutely amazing and at peace. And once you have a taste of that, I tell you what, you want to change your life to a place where you have more time to do that, because that is who we are. That's what we are.
Yeah, totally. I wrote that on Facebook a few weeks ago. I think it was after my cannabis oil yoga experience. I wrote essentially that it's amazing. My whole life, I've been like just searching and seeking and trying to get something, you know, whether it's girls or money or whatever it is, anything to make myself happy. And it turned out after all that searching that everything I needed to be happy was actually already sitting right there inside of me. And that's what I've discovered as well, is that happiness is way more than anything you can get from the material world. And most people, as you pointed out, just have no idea. So this is the kind of stuff that we're talking about, stuff that I'm just learning about. And you mentioned nature as well. Every day when I do go for that walk, I found this path up on the mountain now. So I'm basically up on the mountain, sun gazing and grounding and earthing and stuff in the morning. What I need to do is get down to the beach and get in the ocean a bit more too. So, and that's all free, right? So everything that we're talking, it's amazing. Like everyone, I got to make some money. It's like, I need this. It's like everything that's good. You know, what's that old Beatles song, right? Like everything that you want really is free. Like that mountain's free, the ocean's free. Any food that I really should be eating is free. There are mango trees everywhere. That's all I should be eating.
It's so, first of all, by the way, your face looks younger. Like you literally, like I know guys who are, you look like 30s. Like there's no way you're even in your 40s. Like you can see it in your face. Like really, that's number one. And I'm not trying to, seriously.
You're trying to hit on me.
I'm not trying to hit on you, and number two, it's that, you're not supposed to know this. Like you're not like, you can go out and rent a house. I'm not making this up. Like I just came from Ecuador. You can go rent a house, a small house for $300, $400 a month in Ecuador. I'm not kidding. Spend $100 on food. So you could literally live for $500 a month in a place where you can just go to nature and just breathe and be at peace with amazing energy. And there's lots of places, even in Eastern Europe, you can live really, really cheap. So this idea that, oh man, I got to be making $5K a month. Yeah, if you live in New York, yeah, you got to make $5K a month. At least you're broke at $5K a month. But there's other parts of the world where you need so little money. You could just find a way to generate $800 a month, $1,000 a month. Online or consult or whatever. You could have a life where you're doing almost no work and you're just at peace in nature, breathing and having an amazing time. It's insane. And that's what I really want people to realize. You can break out of this. You don't need to be making lots of money. Get the fuck out. Get out of America. Get out of these expensive cities and go experience, even for a month, the life you can have living somewhere in nice warm weather where you need like 1/5 the money or less, like 1/10 the money, where you can have an amazing time. Acapulco is one of those places. There's so many places you can live on really, really cheap. So get out, guys. If you're in the Matrix, get the fuck out of there. You can. Yeah. I know you can. Get out.
Yeah, I agree with you. You met those hippies, Lily, and the people that are on the run from the U.S. because of drug laws in the U.S. They're wanted for like 25 years for making cannabis oil or something like that to help people cure cancer. They moved here with $50 in their pocket. I think you were at their house, weren't you? Or maybe not. Maybe you were staying with someone else. They're two hippies. But anyway, they make like, I think she makes all her money off of Steam It, and she makes like $5 a day or something. And they live fine. They actually have this beautiful house. They see everything happens when you just go do it. So they've somehow they came to Mexico with $50 in their pocket. They've been fine. They've been here over a year. They make like a few dollars a day on Steam It, and they're doing fine. And they live in this beautiful house with like a view that's pretty close to like my view, in like a more poor neighborhood, but it's a really nice house because the owner just kind of liked them, and they just have this giant garden. They grow their own food. I think they spend no more than like $100 a month, and they live, like I said, like this view, beautiful
awesome.
weather. Yeah, so yeah, all this
So
sort
good.
of, yeah. So a lot of people have all these ideas. Oh, but what about, don't I need medical insurance? You're like, oh my God, or isn't it, I heard it's dangerous. Oh my God, turn off the television programming.
Yeah, it's nuts. I just got an apartment in London, $3K a month. I got a good deal. It's not big. You know what I mean? It's like I'm paying more than you, and I'm living in this little apartment. But I have stuff to do.
You're paying
here,
twice as much as me.
Twice as much, dude. Twice as much. It's crazy for a tiny, for a small apartment. But I have things to do here, and for me, it'll pay off because I'm not just picking my nose. I got projects going on and stuff. But I'll tell you what, once I'm done in Europe in the summer, I'm going back to Ecuador. I'm going to sit under a tree for 6 months and just be in bliss. And I'll be making podcasts, and it'll be amazing. So and that's the thing, when you're consciously like, okay, I'm going into the matrix. I'm going to do XYZ shit. I'm going to get this shit done, make this money. Then I'm getting the fuck out, and I'm going to enjoy it and spend time with myself. Then it's bearable because knowing I can get out of here and that's coming up, I'm okay. But being in it all the time and never getting out, you'll go insane. Your soul will die, you'll go insane, and you'll end up killing yourself. So don't do it. Do not stay in it. Get the fuck out. That's all I got to say.
Yeah, absolutely. I was just thinking about that the other day, living in a big city. It's just not natural. It's just not right.
No,
of course,
it's
you can.
totally not.
There's things to do there, and sometimes it's fun to be there for certain reasons or do some things like you're doing, but to be there your entire life is, whoa, you're going to need some real therapy after that one. So
You don't want it. Once you taste that freedom and that fresh air and that just people being simple and enjoying life and eating and just not being on their phone all the time, just people enjoying life in another country where it's just totally relaxed, and you realize, wow, that you can go deep with yourself and actually all the joy is within, and you have the space to discover that. It's a life changer, man. And it's just such a life changer. This is what I'm talking about in the podcast, how to get out of the matrix, how to get in there and connect with yourself. It's beautiful. Everyone, to go take a vacation somewhere where you could just sit with yourself for a few days. Once you taste that joy, there's no going back. It really isn't.
Yeah, check out Bulgaria, even interesting places. Sunny Beach, just watch out for the gypsies. Or come, of course, to Acapulco. We've got like dozens or actually hundreds, I think, of anarchists living here now. Got a whole community. It's really quite amazing now. So yeah, check it out. We'll have the links to Sasha's summit all down below. Check it out. I might be there. I might not. No promises at all. Yeah, that's basically it. So that's it for Anarchast. If you like this video, please like, subscribe, share down below. Share this information. Most people don't get access to this. Most people live in the matrix. And that's it for Anarchast, your home for anarchy on the internet. Peace, love, and anarchy.
So what, we get drunk. So what, we smoke weed. We're just having fun. We don't care who sees. So what, we go out.
Hey, let me get a lighter,
That's how it's
please.
supposed to be.
Cause you know I'm high as fuck and I forgot one. Keep that in there.